Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You're still watching Cairo Local Time live on Nile TV International. And moving on to the guest of our main topic today, Dr. Noha Bakr. Dr. Bakr is a PhD in interdisciplinary field of international relations and international organizations. She has received a Distinguished Alumni Award from the American University in Cairo and National Defense University in Washington. Dr. Bakr's current position is a professor adjunct faculty, political science department at the American University in Cairo, teaching international organizations and human rights and gender issues. More about a successful example of Egyptian women in this story.
Noha Bakr, PhD in interdisciplinary field of international relations and international organizations. She has received the Distinguished Alumni Award from the American University in Cairo and National Defense University of Washington. Dr. Bakr's current position is a professor adjunct faculty, political science department, the American University in Cairo, teaching international organizations and human rights and gender issues. She is the former assistant to the Minister of International Cooperation in charge of international economic cooperation with Canada and the Americas. She has also wide experience with multinationals, being the executive director of the Cement Association at the Federation of the Egyptian Industries, the Communications and Corporate Affairs Director of a multinational company. On the academic side, her publications are focused in the field of security and international organizations. Dr. Bakr has headed different panels as a speaker and participant in conferences, workshops, and programs on the national, regional, and international level, lectured in various academic platforms such as NATO Defense College, International Institute of Humanitarian Law in San Remo Moscow University, Perm University, Diplomatic Institute at the Egyptian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and at Cairo University, among other security institutions. Dr. Bakr has worked as a consultant to UNDP Regional Office and the African Union. Dr. Bakr has been a contributor of a weekly article in Ahram Iqtisadi publication for 2 years, contributor to Beyond periodical, which is issued by former United Nations employees. She is also a member of the advisory board of the Egyptian Center of Strategic Studies, a member of the advisory board of the Arab Network for Tolerance, and a member of the Egyptian Council of Foreign Affairs, a member of the Egyptian International Economic Forum, and a guest in different media programs, providing analysis to current events and hard-soft security challenges.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and we're delighted to be joined over the phone by member of the advisory board of the Egyptian Center of Strategic Studies and former assistant to Minister of International Cooperation, Dr. Noha Bakr. Good afternoon, Dr. Bakr, and thank you for joining us.
It's a pleasure to be with you. Thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure also. How did you start your career? Tell us more about the beginnings of your career in the field of international relations and international organizations.
Well, actually, from day one when I joined the university, reading and politics were my passion. So simply I ended up majoring in political science and later making my postgraduate studies. I think this was the starting point. Later, actually, I got involved into the academic life and further to reach at a certain stage in my career being the assistant of the Minister of International Cooperation with focus on, or my department was the U.S. Assistance Program and Canada also program to Egypt.
Right. Dr. Noha, you led the post of former assistant to the Minister of International Cooperation. How were the duties, or what were the main duties and responsibilities of this post?
Mainly, it was communicating with our partners of development, and it was mainly the U.S. assistance program to Egypt, making sure that we are aware of what are the needs that we would like our partners of development to support us in addition also to the Canadian development program.
Right. Now you are a professor adjunct faculty of AUC at AUC Political Science Department. How do you find teaching international organizations and human rights and gender issues? How do you find this topic and the interaction with students studying this kind of topics like human rights and gender issues?
Well, academia has always been my passion. Teaching is my passion. When you teach, you get the chance to interact with youth, to be able to support them, to be critical and analytical in their thoughts. I'm afraid this has always been my passion, and I've been enjoying it very much. Actually, I learn from my students more than they learn from me. It's a dialogue, a continuous dialogue that I highly enjoy.
Yes, sure. It's a sort of interactive dialogue between the professor and the students. You also work as an executive director of the Cement Association at the Federation of the Egyptian Industries. Would you tell us more about your wide experience in the field of industry?
Well, this was also part of my career. I come from a family where actually my father was involved in cement, so I was exposed to the cement industry since I was young on international level. At a certain stage, I was responsible for being an executive director to the Cement Association, making sure that the industry as a whole is in full consistence with environmental regulations, with health and safety procedures, communicating the needs of the industry. All this has been part of my career as an executive director.
Right. Well, and on the academic side, your publications are focused on the field of security and international organizations. Would you tell us more about your publications?
I'm more focused on security and mainly soft security challenges. When we talk about soft security challenges, we're talking about challenges that, if not handled, can lead to hard security challenges. We're talking about here development, we're talking about food security, about water security, about human rights, about how can we support the world to be a better world in order that such challenges would not be escalated to be hard security challenges leading to wars and leading to people losing their lives.
Right. Dr. Noha also received a Distinguished Alumni Award from the American University in Cairo and National Defense University of Washington. What is the significance of this prize, and what does it represent to you?
Recognition is always joyful. When you recognize, when your efforts are recognized, you feel you've made a difference, and this have actually had attracted the attention of others to recognize you. Actually, it feels very good being recognized from my own university where I had my BA and MA, and at a later stage I was recognized for work, for my publications and for my academic career, as well as being a civil servant. I believe this was one of the happiest days in my life when I was informed that I have received this recognition. Actually, it's a certificate that several others from university graduates have received and who have accomplished in their career.
Right. Well, Dr. Bakr, would you tell us more about your experience in writing, as you have been a contributor of a weekly article in Al-Ahram Al-Iqtisadi also?
Well, actually, I write articles in Al-Ahram Al-Iqtisadi, and I have articles, I write weekly articles continuously write articles on a weekly basis because it keeps you always aware of what's happening worldwide, and also it allows you to have an input in or express your own views on it.
Mm-hmm. Right. Moving on to women and women empowerment, how do you assess women empowerment in Egypt so far?
Well, actually, women empower. There is a political will to attain women empowerment in Egypt. Actually, we have the legislation, the regulations. We're working on public awareness so that cultural issues and customs and traditions that are impeding the women empowerment in Egypt would be public awareness would help to eradicate it. But I believe we are on the right track. We can see this in the number of women in cabinet, in the number of women in the parliament, also in the civil society that is led by women in different aspects.
Right. Well, as you've just said, women have achieved a lot in recent years with regards to empowerment and reaching very important positions in the parliament and in the ministries. What do you think are the main challenges facing women these days, not only in Egypt, but also in general in the African continent?
In addition to the customs and traditions that often affect the women role in the society and acceptance of women ability for leadership, but also in Africa, we're suffering also from economic aspects as well as some security in certain areas. There are security challenges for women to be able to manifest its role. However, I believe that there is awareness and there is political will. We have now one African president, woman. We have several women who are now in leading positions. So I think in general, we are on the right track.
Well, right, Dr. Noha, we'll just go to a short break and we'll be right back with you again.
Thank you.